It's a new year. Same bullshit. Yeah, who else is like, okay, 2021, you can start improving anytime now, just, you know? So, let's talk year cards. This is something that I love to do just to get like, have in the back of my mind of like the themes for the year. So, say you want to look into your year card specifically. What you do is you add your birth date to the current year, so add it all together, and then like keep adding these numbers until you get a number that is either 1 to 22, and then you see which number that correlates to the major arcana in tarot. You can calculate yours if you would like, of course, you know, do a little bit of math for you and figure it out, but this is something that like kind of shocked me because I did my math, and for the year 2021, my year card is the Hermit. We just did this. Like, I don't know what my year card was from 2020. I didn't, I calculated I think midway through the year, but I don't quite remember what it was. But I feel like didn't we just do a shit ton of isolation and stuff? And like, yeah, we're still in the isolation parts right now, but like, really? So one thing I really like to do when, say, there's a card that I pull for a very significant thing, whether it's my year card, you can pull clarifications, I guess, for this, but I less like to pull clarification cards, but actually pull the exact same card from another deck and see how the imagery possibly changes, and then changes your mind on a card. Because how different people interpret a deck, it is so interesting to me how different imagery symbols are just, to us personally, can mean something so different. For example, for me, when I see the Tower card in the Rider-Waite deck, that does not ever really freak me out. Like, that seems very like, yeah, let's bring down the structures. But that in the Wild Unknown deck, when it's like lightning hitting a tree, that destruction, that like nature destruction, reminds me that this is not going to be pleasant all the time. Like, for you to lose your foundations is very like, oh shit. There's something about like that nature being destroyed versus like a tower collapsing that really drives that point home for me. So the Hermit as my year ahead card. Isolation, you know, like the old dude by himself with his lantern seeking truths. I'm like, God, what truth? What truth do I need to seek? And versus like the turtle sitting, again, the turtle ain't moving. Like, his limbs are tucked and there is a candle. Like, the light, it comes from him and his stillness. And that is another thing within Hermit, which is the idea of like the stillness and the introversion and looking inward is very, again, like, my thoughts aren't the best right now. Why is this what I need to focus on? Is inner stuff, I guess, to maybe find my inner peace, or realize that like, yeah, there is a lot of shit going on, but a lot of your problems still coming from you, darling. Like, let's work on ourselves, because that's the only thing we can actually control. So like, I get it, but I don't like it at all. Another way to kind of look at these is to then, for your year ahead cards, pick up a dang tarot book and look into what possible meanings that you are missing with stuff. No shame in having to look shit up, because you know what? Stuff is weird and I don't have enough memory for all of this. If you're a person who has a great memory and can just like memorize all the herbs and crystals and tarot, good for you. I am not that person. So what's interesting here is immediately I am pulling from the, this book is titled The New Tarot Handbook by Rachel Pollack. And she uses the Rider-Waite as the imagery in this. The key words are alone, I know, wisdom, guidance, and maturity. So there are some cards that people who don't know tarot well would rather not see in a reading. Death, probably the devil, some of the sword cards in fact. Each of these are valuable meanings beyond their dire titles or images, but they can unnerve people. Usually we don't think of the Hermit this way. I'm thinking of him that way, help me. But if you ask the cards, will I meet my soulmate anytime soon, and the Hermit comes up, chances are you won't be happy to see this cloaked figure all alone on the mountaintop. Perhaps you should take a second look, for it may hint that you don't really want to search for a partner right now. Maybe you want to get to know yourself better, or just learn to enjoy being alone. With little detail, the card appears quite simple, yet it contains a treasure trove of ideas and symbols. Let's start with the Hermit himself. The idea of like wise old men, eternal child, or the Hermit and the Fool both stand on top of mountains, but where the Fool appears to ready to leap off, the Hermit, who has climbed a higher peak, seems content to remain where he is. Again, it's a whole lot of like stationary loneliness, seclusion. Maybe you need to work on yourself. I know, I get it, universe, but I'm not happy about it. If you pull a card and you're not happy about it, cool. Journal about it. Feel the emotions. Be not happy about it. I don't understand this concept sometimes. People try to, I think it goes with the toxic positivity, but people try to like, where is the positive? Where is the lesson? Where is the thing? And while that can help, I think, in some respects, in other respects, sometimes you get a shitty card and you're just like, what? Why? No. Sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes the world is just shitty, and acknowledge your original emotion with that. Like me right now, throwing a temper tantrum over this card. He who holds the lantern, the light of wisdom, to guide the way to those who might come after him. Like the Hierophant, he is a teacher, but where the Hierophant imparts laws, the outer teachings of cultural tradition, the Hermit holds the light of inner truth. He has no interest in disciples, but will guide those who seek him out. Okay. Inside the lantern, we see a six-pointed star, famous as the cultural symbol of Judaism. Its formation of two triangles, one pointing up, the other down, originally meant the union of the two most basic principles of fire and water. The upward triangle represents potent, masculine fire, while downward triangle symbolizes life-growing womb water since the early Stone Age. So maybe the Hermit can end up lighting the way to love in a relationship after all. For the six-pointed triangle suggests card 6, the lovers, and of course the Hermit 9, and the lovers are 6 mirror each other. Very interesting. And although how the hell am I gonna find any sort of partner? Single at the moment. So like, in this chaos of a year, I mean, what is that meme that's going on right now with like Rapunzel met her man in quarantine, so like there's hope for everybody. In the major arcana 3-level structure, the male Hierophant comes below the High Priestess, while the feminine strength comes below the Magician. The seeming opposites set up at the beginning have begun to shift, even change places. We will see how the Tower and the card below the Hermit reverses the polarities altogether. We can see the Hermit in two ways, as ourselves or as a teacher or / guide. As ourselves, the card initiates a willingness or need to be on our own, to pursue our own way, and perhaps to hold a light to our true selves. But it also may represent someone else in our lives, a teacher, a counselor, a role model, or a wise friend, someone who can light our way. Divinatory meetings, being alone, discovering truths about yourself, a time to look inward, maturity, especially as an alternative to the Fool or the Adventurous Knights, possibly a spiritual guide of some kind, a counselor, role model, personal teacher, esoteric wisdom. And I always like reading the reversed sometimes, because just because you pull a card, like a year card, doesn't necessarily be up or down. So what's the reversed? A time to be with people, to involve yourself in society, especially after a period of isolation, possibly immaturity. So this whole inner knowledge and truth thing for the entire of 2021, and the idea of either needing to guide myself or seek out a guide is, I think, very interesting, because I do think after 2020, which was a year of tearing down, reanalyzing, being aware of so many things, there's definitely a bit of me that goes, okay, now we gotta find the way. Like, before we get a charge in forward into betterness, there is a level of, okay, we knew that this was bad, but how do we make the good? How do we focus on what needs to be done? And, you know, what is that idea in compromise between listening to what we know is true within ourselves and also listening to the rest of society, and what those that are better and possibly more informed than us know versus those that could be spewing falsities or, you know, really analyzing and getting that balance. So I guess for me, that is, you know, these cards are not necessarily a happy pull, but also I do think that there is an interesting idea of that is said, where it's like it's a 6-pointed star in here with that representation. And I also think it's very interesting that like there is on the back of this turtle, if you see, it's a gas lamp. It's an old like Victorian gas lamp. This is not like a candle or a torch. It's something about that gas lamp really is like it could go boom. Like it's very like passion infused. Also, there is something in me, which I have mentioned this before on my channel last year, but throughout 2020 I had a lot of weird dreams that pretty much all circused around me being in this dark room, cave, something. It's so dark you can't even see, but I can like, you know when you can sense that there's a light somewhere. So like I look up and there is definitely this like Victorian lantern swinging above me the whole time, and I still haven't quite figured out what it means or if there is an interpretation to be meant with them, but I reoccurringly have this dream, and still to this time still have a little bit of this lantern that keeps popping up, and this use of this lantern, this torch, is very interesting for 2021. So more stuff to journal about. Comment down below, what is your year card for the year 2021? Are you excited about it? Are you angry about it? Are you throwing a bit of a temper tantrum like me? Let me know down below. And I hope that regardless of what cards you pull or what energies you feel coming at you, that you find some blessings this year, and may they come to you with ease and without a shit ton of effort, because we all need it. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.